evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Slasher Club. Sadly, we have some bad news. My partner, Cameron, also known as the Demented Ghost, has left us today because turns out editing videos was pretty hard on him. So, from now on until next week, next week, we will be having a new Demented Ghost on the channel. His name is Gabe, and I want you guys to give him a warm welcome when we add him on next week. But for now, tonight, our special feature, our double review, I should say, we will be doing Just With Me. So, buckle up, and we are going to start with Sleepy Hollow, the 1999 film done by Tim Burton and starring Johnny Depp. So, basically, Sleepy Hollow takes place in the late 18th century, late 18th century, and it follows a new version that we've never seen before of Ichabod Crane, who in this movie is a constable, still a bit sickening or lighthearted, who becomes, or actually gets involved by the state of New York into Sleepy Hollow, New York's supernatural events involving the Headless Horseman, as we all know him, or as I know him, the Dullahan, which we will get into if this channel ends up doing urban legends. But we go through the adventures trying to figure out who the killer is, because, surprise, surprise, this movie is a murder mystery / supernatural / yeah, I think that's it. And we follow through the whole mystery with friends like Katrina and young Masbeth. But on to the rest of the notes. That will be our synopsis for tonight. It was directed by Tim Burton, produced by Scott Rudin and Adam Schroeder, screenplay by Andrew Kevin Walker, story by Kevin Yager and Andrew Kevin Walker, music by Danny Elfman, who's well known for a lot of Tim Burton musics and movies. Cinematography by Emmanuel Lebowski. It was filming took place in Leavesden Film Studios, Shepperton Studios, Hambleton Estate at Lime Tree Valley, and Soundstage in Yonkers, New York. So shout out to all you New York fans that come and watch this channel. We have Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, Christina Rice, our beloved Rice from a lot of Tim Burton's films, and some movies like The Addams Family. She plays Katrina Von Tassel. We have Miranda Richardson as Lady Mary Von Tassel and her sister, the Crone Witch. We have Mark Pickering as young Masbeth. We have Michael Gambon as Baltus Von Tassel. Jeffrey Jones, who most of you probably already know, is Reverend Steenwick. We have Caper Von Dien as Brom Von Brunt, also known as Brom Bones. as most of you know him from the old Disney cartoon. We have Ian McDermott, straight off of the Phantom Menace, playing Dr. Thomas Lancaster. Michael Gow as Notary James Hardenbrook, which we also know him as King James from Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides and many other movies. We have Christopher Walken and Ray Parker as the Headless Horseman, or the Headless Hessian as they call him in this movie. We have Claire Skinner as Beth Killian, Stephen Waddington as Mr. Killian, Richard Griffith as Magistrate Samuel Phillips. Oh wait, no, Griffith is the one that we see in Pirates of the Caribbean 4. The other one... Correction, Michael Gow is usually in a lot of Hammer films, so please forgive that inaccuracy. We have Christopher Lee as the Burgermaster. We have Alan Armstrong as High Constable. Martin Landau as Peter Von Garrett. Lisa Moreras as Lady Crane. And finally, Peter Guinness as Lord Crane. I will be doing the gore score, or slasher stats as we used to call them, on this channel. We have a body count of 21 decapitations, 1 drowning, 2 questionable killings that we don't really get a name to. We have 2 stabbed in the chest, 1 backslashed, 1 sliced in half, 1 bludgeoned, 1 shot, 1 neck broken by teeth, 1 creepy-ass tree, and 1 huge pit to hell, and 1 headless Hessian. And with the death count, it brings us to a total of 57 deaths. And ladies and gentlemen, on to the softer, well, more known for me to do, part of this, favorite kill, which, remember guys, this is my opinion, and this is where the spoilers start. We have, for me, and only me, Brom Von Bones gets sliced in half, which, honestly, when I first saw it, I originally liked it, but then I watched the movie fully, and it's just, Brombone was a real dumbass going up against the Headless Horseman, but you just watch him fight with those 2 sickles in his hands, just trying to fight the Headless Horseman off, trying to get the heads back, and you just see, as the Horseman traps him back under the bridge, he just slices him in half in a whirl of blades, and it's just amazing, I have to say. But our least favorite kill is Lady Von Tassel gets bitten, which you basically don't see her neck get bitten. You watch as the Headless Horseman bites her lip, basically, and it's... honestly, I have to say it's the worst of them all. I would have said the shooting, the guy gets shot after his friend gets bludgeoned in the head with a cross, but here, this one was just... oh, God. I mean, I enjoyed getting a close-up of the Headless Horseman's face, but I wouldn't even claim this as a kill. I wouldn't claim it as a kill until we actually see her hand coming out of the tree after the Headless Horseman drags her down to hell by horse. So yeah, I guess you could also say it's neck gets bitten, but also it's a getting dragged down to hell kind of death. But on to the facts. We have a budget of... Oh, wait, no. No. Favorite scene. I almost forgot. For me, it was the court scene at the beginning, which was a interesting, just back and forth barrage of words from both Johnny Depp and Christopher Lee, two very well-known actors that I just had to love it. It was very interesting. And just watching both point of views going back and forth, it's just... And how Christopher Lee just shoves off Crane, telling him, you're going to do this, and now you're going to be tested. If you don't agree with us, we have to test you. And my most favorite scene next to the court scene is the attack of the horseman on a magistrate. It's just... He's trying to escape, and you just see, out of the shadows and out of the lightning, the horseman just showing up out of nowhere, and he goes up to the magistrate and just cuts his head off. And this is where it gets funny. We watch as the magistrate's head just starts spinning on the top of on the stump of a neck he has. I don't even think he had a neck, but still, you just see it whirl around until it falls down right into Ichabod's lap. And the headless horseman just jams his sword into the head and picks it up out from between Ichabod's legs. It's just a very interesting shot. I would have put it as favorite kill, but again, it couldn't really top Brom Bones. And it was a little silly. I mean, it was good for laughs, and it was a good scene to watch. But, again, it was a little too silly. On to the facts. We have a budget of $70 to $100 million. We have a box office of $207 million. We have Johnny Depp wanted his portrayal to parallel Irving's original Ichabod Crane, but sadly the studio would not allow it at all. But you still see a few parallels between them, like Ichabod's still a bit lighthearted when he sees blood or a dead body. But I love this portrayal by Johnny Depp. I just feel it didn't really have that flair that the original cartoon had or that you'd read in the book. It's just, he's a lot more braver than you'd want. And they turned him into a constable compared to what he originally was, which, for those who have actually read the urban legend or the story, and for those who have not, Ichabod Crane was a school teacher, very timid, and here they made him a constable. A lot braver than we'd expect. But at least we do technically get Ichabod's horse, known as Gunpowder, the silvery horse that we see for most of the stories. We have Kevin Ya was supposed to direct, but was demoted because they didn't really like his style on how he wanted the movie to be done, so they brought him down to costume designer. Interesting creation of murder mystery through an urban legend. Honestly, I felt it was a big twist. I mean, I saw this movie a few years ago on the DVD, which I have right here, which it was a good purchase on our part. It came with, I believe, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. And, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the original. I love all the lore behind it. But the one real problem is, we it's not really true to the story. I mean, you were scared in the original movies because you don't really see the Headless Horseman until later on. But now here, we get a whole big thing of every 5 to 10 to 20 minutes, we get the Headless Horseman just chopping someone's head off, where we're just used to the suspense building up and building up until the end, where we have the big chase scene with Ichabod Crane and the Headless Ghost. But yeah, I can see where they were going. They wanted to do it a little different, and I mean, a lot of the fans liked it. I mean, partially because Johnny Depp is such a good actor in this movie, but also, I believe, because it was something different that this story really needed. We were getting tired of seeing all the DVDs of the original story, or like that one old VHS that most of you have in your basement of the story. Really, the use of the Holy Ground to show the Horseman as a demon, I just feel you never really get to see the effect on the Horseman in a lot of shows or movies. Here, we watch as he throws an axe onto the ground to see what would happen, at least, and we watch as his axe is burnt away by the Holy Ground, and a lot of times I just feel to ward off the Headless Horseman, why didn't they just try and use maybe holy water or a cross against the Headless Horseman? Nope. Throughout the whole church scene, they're just shooting at him, basically goading him on. I mean, think, if that church was to burn down at some point in that movie, they'd have been fucked. They would have been in trouble. They would not have been so safe and able to shoot at the Horseman as much as they had. And last fact or opinion, we do, as I mentioned before, we do have these small hints of Ichabod Crane. But I have to say I did enjoy this film. It was a joy to watch Johnny Depp in a new light, but still, I have to say I like the original movies or the original story better. Partially because the Headless Horseman, yes, it's known as the Horseman of Death in a lot of things, but I also think of it as the original, which most Irish folklore calls the Dullahan, which is a deliverer of death, where, I mean, yeah, you could definitely call it the Horseman of Death, but I feel the original, like, from Washington Irving, or Irving Washington, I forget his name, no offense, but I just feel that's more realistic. Here, yeah, we've got the Holy Ground, we've got all these elements that would have worked, but I just feel it's not as good as the original. So I'd give this movie at least a 8 out of 10, being that I did enjoy it. It's just, I'm an urban legend lover, as most of you probably are, and I just like the real source material more. So yeah, on to the next movie, which I have to say we have to do.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Right now, non-stop, because ladies and gentlemen, it is still November the 5th, 2018. Over 400 years, Guy Fawkes, an activist of Great Britain, tried to blow up Parliament, and most of the American side has forgotten about this tradition. I mean, yeah, Britain has their whole effigy burning, but still, I will never forget, and I hope none of you will either. So happy Guy Fawkes Day, ladies and gentlemen. And we will be doing, for our second review, V for Vendetta. So, yeah, V for Vendetta is a 2005 film about an activist and anarchist who picks up a young Natalie Portman, well, semi-young. She just came off the filming of Attack of the Clones, but she is known as Evie Hammond in this movie, a daughter of two activists who died doing what they loved. She is alone in the world, working for a TV company, and she feels similar to how V feels. The government is controlling everyone, censorship is controlling everything, and maybe she just doesn't want to live in a world like that anymore. So, V ends up blowing up the Old Bailey, and plans throughout the movie, killing most of the people that ruined his life. And throughout the movie, we learn his backstory. We also learn about a bit of Evie and how the government was created. Onto the cast. It was directed by James McTeague. It was produced by Joel Silver, Grant Hill, Andy Wachowski, and Larry Wachowski, also known as the Wachowski brothers. We have a screenplay by the Wachowski brothers, music by Dario Marinelli, and cinematography by Adrian Biddle, where this was Biddle's last film ever done, and may he rest in peace. It was filmed in London, United Kingdom, and in Potsdam, Germany. Most of it was done in the United Kingdom around the... God damn it. I completely forgot the name. Downtown Abbey. All around the Abbey. And a few sound stages. Hugo Weaving plays V. Natalie Portman is our main female protagonist, Evie Hammond. We have Stephen Ree as Eric Finch. We have John Hertz as High Chancellor Adam Sutler. Stephen Fry as Gordon Dietrich. We have Tim Paget Smith as Peter Creedy. Whereas most of the movie we hear him as Mr. Creedy. Rupert Graves as Dominic Stone, Roger Allen as Louis Prothero, John Standing as Anthony James Lilliman. We have Eddie Marson as Brian Etheridge, Ben Miles as Roger Dascaby, Guy Henry as Conrad Hayer. We have Sanad Cusack as Dr. Delia Surridge, Natasha Whitman as Valerie Page, and Imogen Poots as Valerie as a child. Onto the gore score or slasher stats, whichever you guys want to know it as. We have 1 hanging, 2 slammed against the brick wall, 21 stabbed with a knife or flung at with a knife. We have 4 shot, 1 hit with a wrench, 1 blown up, 1 maced, 3 poisoned, 1 died from disease, 4 black baggings, 30 in testing and lab explosion, and 1 little girl gets shot for wearing a Guy Fawkes mask, which was kind of controversial during the film, but so was having a movie focused on a terrorist, or activist, as we like to call him, 4 years after 9/11. Onto favorite scene, which is, for me, there were 2. The orchestra bombing scene, which is also known as the bombing of the Old Bailey, which I love the use of the overture, which every time I see it, it puts chills for me. I mean, in the past few days, that is the one scene I have watched the most. It's just... I just have no words. It is amazingly done, especially from the view of the building. A bit of a point of view shot from Evie and V, watching as the statue on top of the building is blown up, and just that build up that V puts out, showing he's a true orchestral master. And the other scene is V's revolutional speech, which I don't think you guys know, but I recently found out I'm kind of an anarchist. I believe in everything V and Guy Fawkes believed in. I just wouldn't do the exact same thing, sadly. I wouldn't attack the government. I wouldn't bomb anything. I just feel they were right in how they felt about the government and how censorship is screwing our families up, screwing our country up. I mean, most of you are probably parents who watch this, and you guys used to do a lot of messed up stuff, like go out into the woods, smoke, listen to loud rock music, and now, if you look at yourselves, would your teenage selves, or at least late 20s, actually look at you and be proud of what you've become? I mean, I know this is coming from an 18-year-old who, most of you are probably saying, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But still, the way I see it, none of your teenage selves would be happy with what you turned into. I mean, it'd be proud you had kids, or at least a wonderful job, but just seeing how stiff you've become after all the partying you probably did as a young child. I just can't. But to focus on the speech, he's basically rallying everyone, trying to get everyone to come and show up, to show their support, to try and change the government, witness the parliament bombing, and understand that that is the destroying of an evil, overpowering symbol, where if so many people show up, it creates another symbol, a symbol of freedom, a symbol of love, and a symbol of trying to make a difference. So yeah, we have a budget of $54 million. We have a box office of $132.5 million. We have Alan Moore refuse to watch the film or be credited after all the movies he's done, like Extraordinary Gentleman and... God, I can't remember the last one. But he did not like how they turned out, so he completely erased his name from each movie. But I guess he forgot there's a wiki page, so we'll always know he was a part of this. We also have many references to the George W. Bush administration, which also involves a bit of the... throughout the film, you see so many nods to the Nazi Party and all the... focusing on the Bush administration, the black bagging was a huge part of it, where you get black bagged and then sent to Guantanamo Bay Detention Center, which was a big deal back then, especially during that time when everyone was afraid. And this was around the time of 9/11. But we also have the Nazi Semitism, which is, you see the marching as we watch through how Staten became the High Chancellor, and it's just all the banners you see of New Parliament or the finger. You just see... it looks completely similar as they're hanging up there to Hitler, and you feel Staten or Sutler as kind of a Hitler-esque character. We know Hitler wasn't really on the TV barking orders every day. He was actually there, but here Sutler is more of a televised Hitler with his Gestapos and his hatred of Jews, gays, all of that. And I'm praying that's not what our government's turning into. V is more of a romantic freedom fighter than the graphic novel, where we see he's more of a terroristic, gruesome killer more. I personally have not read the graphic novel, but again, Wikipedia is very helpful, and a lot of people have explained this to me, or a lot of YouTube videos have mentioned it, that he wasn't really a romantic in the comic books. He was more of a heartless activist that basically never fell in love with Evie. He just saw her as his next heir to the Guy Fawkes mask, I guess you could say. Which, it does work, and the movie is so much different from the graphic novel, where the graphic novel takes place in the 90s, 70s or 90s, where here this takes place in like the 2030s and up. We have multiple parts to the whole, as I was mentioning, like the Gestapo, the voice. But here it's the voice, the nose, the finger, the ear, the mouth, and the eye. All parts of the new Parliament government to make sure everyone is following orders and following the rules. It's just so close to what would have looked like, I'm pretty sure, if Hitler became the chancellor of the world or leader of the world. It would have ended up like that. A bit similar to what you'd see in a concentration camp. We have the opening shows the original Guy Fawkes night, where we watch Guy Fawkes try to blow up the buildings of Parliament for his Catholic brethren, which that night is still celebrated up until now, as I mentioned before. But I kind of wish Guy Fawkes did it, or at least completed the plan, so we would have learned more. This world might have actually been better off if he blew up Parliament. It would have sent out a message to a lot of our governments to show that we don't need censorship. I mean, I believe we were born to be more chaotic. A lot less censorship, a lot more of what everyone believed in, at least in the 70s or 80s. Now it's just, we've thrown away those visuals to be more of a clean and exceptional, I guess you could say, society, which I definitely do not agree with. But yeah, this was a movie I was really excited to watch again. I mean, this is the first time, I have to admit, that I watched it completely. First, I watched it, well, parts of it, a few summers ago, but now that I've seen the full movie, I honestly want to give it a 9, because, yeah, it's not true to the novelization or to how Alan Moore actually wanted it, but still, it's a really good movie, and it teaches us a lot about ourselves. I mean, all during my gym class today, I was talking with a classmate to make sure that he understood the meaning of Guy Fawkes Day, and we had a huge conversation about today's government, about censorship, about the beliefs that have rung out in the past few years, and just, I see Guy Fawkes Day as something similar to 9/11. I mean, yeah, it failed, but still, it's a symbol of what could have happened and what might have happened. Of a day when a government was a corrupt government was almost overthrown. And when most of Britain came together, I mean, yeah, it was to watch Guy Fawkes get hung, and nowadays it's to burn an effigy of him, but still, I feel he had the right idea. So yeah, I'm giving this movie a 9.5 to be exact, and I hope you guys enjoyed these two reviews. I definitely recommend you go watch Sleepy Hollow and V for Vendetta. And don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little notification bell at the bottom, and comment your opinions. Do you feel that our government is right, or do you feel we would have been better if Guy Fawkes actually blew up Parliament and made a huge difference? Again, leave that response down in the comments or on Facebook when I post these out. Again, we will have, hopefully, Gabe on next week. He will be editing this video and a lot of the old ones, but he will also be our new demented ghost. I mean, we will miss Cameron, it's just he couldn't take the pressure. It was getting to him. But, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please remember the 5th of November every year. We need to also make this an American holiday. And also, stay spooky, stay terrified, and always remember where you belong and where you came from. Good night, goodbye, and have a wonderful evening.